Next time I'll get it right, but for now I'll stay right here where I belong.
You have an amazing opportunity, young generation, to rise above and be proud of the choices you're making and get out of the codependent culture and be responsible for you and work harder in your life than anyone else ever will.
What do you want? What do you want out of your life? Where do you want to go? If no one else will fight, I'll be the one. I'll be the one to step into their world. I'll be the one to walk with them.
And I mean it more than you'll ever know.
Some people will ghost you. Well, then maybe they're not real friends. At some point in time in your life, you are gonna have to come face to face with yourself.
Next time I'm getting it right. Will you believe me if I say this is the last time?
And then she points at me and she goes, there's greatness inside of you. Sometimes we need people to believe things for us until we can believe it for ourselves. Because I look at what I'm doing now and it's not lining up with what they said I couldn't do. And now I'm doing everything that people said I couldn't do. Because now I travel the world and I share my story.
Next time I'll get it right, but for now I'll stay right here where I belong.
And by the time I was 26, I was sitting in 30-day inpatient treatment for alcohol. My family wanted nothing to do with me, couldn't hold a job. I was codependent, all because I thought I could get away with it. I should probably have about 10 DUIs, I only have 2. My last one was June 24th, 2010. That was the DUI that changed my life.
For it to hurt more, to stay the same. When I get through this storm, I'll find it on my own. And I'll mean it more than you'll ever know.
And so I'm going to talk about connection and belonging. We're looking for a place to belong where someone can come out and say, hey, we want you here. I want you here. We want you around. We say we live in such a connected world. If that's the case, if we really say we're more connected, then why is everybody more depressed?
There's no dumb kid, there's no worthless kid. There's only kids that have been starved of love and have been wounded so badly, they're just looking for a place to lay. We can't change the history, but we can help shape their future.
Next time I'm getting it right.
Take one thing that you want to focus on to overcome in your life. Take one thing at a time and walk through the process. The process is only a process if one stays in it. If you don't stay in the process, then it's no longer a process.
Welcome back to the Peer Purpose Podcast. I really hope you enjoyed last week's episode. I hope just in general y'all are doing well. It's such a delight to be here with you. We're going to jump right into this. If you remember a few weeks back, one of the things that we talked about was the downfall of focusing on ourselves too much. And there was just a lot in that I covered, but there was more that I actually just wanted to break down. So I decided to do a part 2 today. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to jump right into this thing, the downfall of focusing on yourself. I am going to more focus tonight on the fact of how to get out of, as I called it in the first episode, part 1, introspection. And remember, I told you how introspection can be one of the biggest roadblocks to us and can actually hinder our growth because we are so focused inwardly. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I got a correction for you in this week's episode that I didn't have that day. And so I'll share that here in a minute. But here's how you get out of focusing on yourself. And I want to challenge everybody watching this. I want to challenge you to the simple fact you need to learn to fall in love with growing inside, healing and growing. A lot of people are stuck because they don't want to grow, okay? We have to learn how to do that well. The only way you will go to where you're going in life, okay, is if you choose to grow as a person. And that's mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all the above. So what I'm seeing in our culture today, okay, we are actually looking for people to take care of our needs. We have genuinely entered into that situation where we look around and we start, and it's like we're scanning like, oh my gosh, who can take care of my needs today? Okay. Again, that's all introspection, and we're going to go after that today. And I'm going to hopefully, by the end of this, be able to share with you guys some practical tips to walk out of that, because it's damaging, and it's ultimately it's going to throw you off the path that you want to get to. I'm just going to tell you right now, it will not last long term. Okay. So we're going to jump right in talking about this. Here's how you get out of introspection. Here's the one thing that you have to do. And that is, I'm going to ask you, who is checking your blind spots? So if you use this analogy, like you're driving, if you're old enough to drive right now, you're driving down a road, and they always say you can look in the rearview mirror, but check your blind spot. That means look behind your left shoulder to see, when you're merging into a different lane, who may be there that you can't see. Okay. And because sometimes we look in the rearview mirror, a car creeps up on us, and I've seen it. There's been times where I've almost gotten a car wreck because I didn't check my blind spot the way that I should have. And had I not last minute, if they had not sped up, I'd have been getting a wreck. And, I've been in wrecks before, but nothing crazy, thank God. But when we look for our blind spot, when we look behind us and check over our shoulder, that's where we can see the full view. And that's where we can see who's creeping up behind us, so we can yield or slow down and then wait till they pass to get over to the next lane. It's no different as a person. It's no different with what's inside of you. You have to have people that can see the places that you cannot see. It's also known as accountability. How do you bring someone bring them into the chaos, the things that you're going through? How do you bring them in? And how do you say, hey, I need you to check my blind spots? And it's literally, these are the type of people. If you remember me talking about my circle of responsibility or my circle of influence, right? It's the same concept, but circle of influence is you might have 3 to 5 people in your life. 3 to 5 people in your life, okay, that they have gained access and they have influence in your life because they have invested in you. They have taken the time to know your heart. They have understood you before you understood them. And ultimately, they have gained your trust. These are the people that should be able to point out your blind spots. So one thing is let's say that when someone does something to you that you feel is betrayal, and if you just go off on them, you should be able to have someone point out and say, hey, that right there, that's just not going to serve you well in the long run. I would not get used to that, and be able to point out the things that you can't see. Or if you like to defend yourself in an argument, okay? If someone's trying to argue with you and tell you about yourself, not even necessarily argue, but say, hey man, what you're doing is not great. Or hey, sweetheart, what you're doing is not great. And you start defending yourself. You need the people to point out, to say, hey, you're really defending yourself right now. Do you see how you're actually avoiding the thing that I'm asking you to work on? Who is checking your blind spots? This is the first part of getting out of introspection, meaning this is the first part where we can start saying, how do I start looking outside of myself to actually get to the place where I know I want to go? Some of you cannot see past yourself because of, I'm just going to say it, you're so broken. Now, let me disclaim that I'm not putting you down. I remember what brokenness was like. Trust me. And there's still parts of my life today that times I feel like there is brokenness that I'm working through. It's part of the journey. We're never not going to be broken in some areas. Doesn't mean we have to live our lives broken and project that out to other people. But there is something to the fact that there may be areas of brokenness, even as we mature, that will pop up from time to time in season to season when it's time to heal from maybe past things that we've been through. But there's a lot of people that I understand you're broken. And what brokenness does, brokenness actually gets us to a place where it's hard for us to see outside of ourselves. We're so focused inwardly because we're so hurt. Okay. This is a big way you can get out of it by saying, hey, asking people, will you check my blind spots? What am I not seeing? Guys, there comes a point where if things are going the same way all the time, and you keep circling and circling and circling the mountain and seeing the same view, there comes a point where you have to be able to ask someone, hey, what am I not seeing? What am I missing? There's got to be, everyone else can't be the problem. Like, we got to be able to ask those questions, y'all. I'm bringing some reality to this. We have to be able to ask the questions. Even when I don't want to hear the answer, I still ask the hard questions. What did I miss there? Because if I am so focused on myself, I will never, ever be able to see the needs of anyone else. And I will never, ever be able to help other people. Okay? We have to get to a place where we can ask someone, hey, what am I missing? Okay? What am I missing? So who is checking your blind spots? Who do you have in your life? And if you don't have in your life, who are the people you're thinking about right now that could maybe come into your life and help with that? And I promise you, that will help you grow so much, and you'll be thankful in the long run. Because I'm telling you, no one likes sitting in a poopy diaper. It's time to change it. Okay? And these people, by the way, that check your blind spots, they shouldn't be sitting in your poopy diaper with you. It should be people that aren't willing to sit in your poopy diaper, but they're willing to say, hey, I'll help you change it when you're ready. Okay? It's not the people that will go down with you. Some people they have boundaries, guys. We have boundaries. When you get healthier emotionally as a person, you lay boundaries down. And boundaries 101 is you do not stoop to the standard if it's being lower than what you've already created. You don't stoop to it. You raise the standard. Okay? If it's time to get out into big boy undies and you're still wearing diapers, that's the standard. And we call it up. Hey, let's go in the undies. Okay? That's boundaries 101. Someone wants to do the push-pull technique, right? You don't let them push. You don't let them pull. Okay? You stay neutral in that. And it's all a reflection. I've said this many times. It's all a reflection of the pain inside of you. That's why we do what we do. Okay. Second thing, I have a correction to make. I talked about peanuts. And I said Charlie Brown in his blanket. It was actually Linus. Linus in his blanket that he always carried around with him. Okay. And I told you how my admin got a picture a few years back that she was showed that like she really felt the vision was Linus in his blanket, and that's how people are. Okay. If we want to get out of introspection and we want to take the focus off ourselves, we have to be able to drop the blanket. The blanket is comfort. It's our pain. It's the things. It's our survival tactics. It's our self-protection, which we'll get to in a little bit. It's every single thing that we've developed as protection and armor over time that doesn't actually help us. It's time to drop the blanket. Okay? We got to let go of the blanket. Our binky, we have to let it go. Part of growth is not staying comfortable. Get uncomfortable, not being comfortable, or being comfortable. Get uncomfortable being comfortable. Okay? You get to a place where you're comfortable being uncomfortable because you're going after growth. And that's just the big part of life. Okay? There's sympathy. But what it comes down to, a lot of the world we live in, a lot of people just need to grow up. They need to stop majoring in the minors. And they need to start saying, gosh, maybe the way I was raised is hurting my dynamic later on down the road. Maybe the things that I do and how I think It's my world that I'm living in. Maybe, just maybe, that's affecting others. And maybe that's affecting me more than I know. Because the more we go inward, the more fantasy we create for our lives. Okay? So line this in your blanket. We have to drop the comfort. You drop the comfort by bringing people around you to look at your blind spots, to call you on your crap. Some of you need to be called on your crap. It's just a reality. Some of you need to be called on your crap. Stop your stuff. Stop your stuff. Some of you need to be called on it. Okay? Let's let go of the blanket. Okay? Third thing. We want to get out of introspection. Okay? I said this a little bit ago in a little bit of variation. We have to get out of comfort. Comfort is a drug. It is an absolute drug. Comfort is one of the worst pills you can take because it doesn't allow you to make room for anything other than what makes you feel good. We have to get out of comfort. Sure, you want to be comfortable. I'm not saying you don't want to be, but if you're just living to be comfortable and you're not actually living to stretch yourself. Matter of fact, here's what I want you to do. This made me just think of something. I want you to get to a place, get around someone who knows you, and I want you to ask them, am I comfortable? Am I too comfortable? And I want you to see what they say. And if they answer yes, I want you to ask them a simple question. This is going to be hard to do because you're going to hear about yourself. Ask them, how has that affected you, me being comfortable? I will put money on it that 98% of people will tell you that it's affected them in one way or another in a negative way. I'll put money on it. Because the people that are comfort and they're in that drug, when they're taking that drug of comfort, they don't see how it hurts others at all. They have blinders on and they only live in their world. Okay? That's part of introspection. Get out of introspection. Bring people into the blind spots and have them show you comfort is a drug. If you're looking to be comfortable, you're missing it. Simple as that, you're missing it. Okay? Never get comfortable in things that are damaging. Ever. Never get comfortable in that. Okay? We're not here just to get our needs met. That's not how this life works. We have to stop using people and thinking that people are there only to meet our needs. You're prideful and egotistical if you think that, y'all. And I say this with love. It's time to look at the bigger picture. Okay? How is introspection hurting you? I'm going to give you a few different things right now. How introspection is actually, it's probably more killing you. And I don't mean that in the sense of like physically. But I'm telling you, our mind, will, and emotions, that's our soul. Our soul deteriorates over time when we don't stay healthy. Just like your body deteriorates over time, physically, if you eat stuff that you shouldn't be eating and you never take care of it. I've been there. I'll be honest. You guys know, 3 years ago, I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And for many years, I didn't take care of myself. My physical body was deteriorating. And so just like your physical body, well, your soul, your mind, will, and emotions, that will deteriorate too over time if you don't take care of it. Thus depression, okay? Thus there's a lot of medical complications that come from not being healthy in your soul. Okay, so we have to understand that. So maybe literally it could be killing you. But if nothing else, it's killing you in your relationships. It's killing you in your growth as a person. It's killing you in your overall destiny and the future that is laid out before you. Okay, but the first one is, here's how you know, okay, you are too inwardly focused. And here's how you know it's hurting you. When you are more worried about your well-being over anyone else's. Again, when you're looking to get your needs met, when you're looking to be in a situation that, What can I get out of this? I'll do something for them, they do something for me. Okay? That's a big sign that it's hurting you, because you don't look at other people's needs and what they might need in something. Okay? So when you are worried about your well-being, that's hurting you. Introspection. You're too focused on yourself. So that's a good check for your heart. When you start worrying about your needs over someone else's, that could be a good check to say, maybe I'm being a little introspective right now. I'm telling you, y'all, this breakthrough right here, if you get this will change a lot of stuff in your life. Okay? Here's another way. If you only see your perspective. Same type of thing just a little bit ago, right? Only being worried about your well-being. But if you're only seeing it from your perspective, if you want people, like we talked about last week, if you want people to agree with you, just agree with you and only you. And if they don't agree with you, then they're wrong. And if they have a different opinion, then man, they must be just completely from a different planet, right? When you only worry about your perspective, that is only going to hurt you. That doesn't bring reality to the situation. What is the reality? You know, they talk about, and when it comes down to a story, there's usually 3 sides to a story. There's the 2 people involved, and then there's the actual truth, right? What is the real perspective? There's different perspectives. If it's 2 people involved, there's one perspective here, there's one perspective here. What is it? And then there's a really truth, right? We have to look to see what the truth is in every type of situation. Okay? And one last thing I want to tell you is that self-protection is self-destruction. Okay? I want that to be your new motto. Self-protection is self-destruction. Okay? The walls that you put up to try to protect yourself. And let me just tell you, I know you think that's a good idea because you think it minimizes your pain. I promise you, when you get older, or when you get to a place where you have to come face to face with that self-protection, it won't help you. It will destroy you. Because in years and years of sitting in a habit and a lifestyle and a cycle, okay, in years and years of sitting in that, when it comes time to deal with it, it's going to be hard to do. So self-protection is self-destruction. You have to understand, learn to heal the things in your heart right now, so that when we get to another place with people, that's the only way you start healing and growing. Trusting people, you trust people by trust people. You have to start opening up into it. Okay, I want to address one more thing. It's the self-help society that we live in today. I'm not saying doesn't have to be a partnership. I'm not saying that at all. Okay, there has to be a part. I'm not saying that we don't have to do something is what I mean. But I'm telling you right now, self-help is literally only success-minded. It will burn you out, and it's actually doesn't have the good motives behind it. Okay, self-help. Oh, I got to make it. I got to do this, and I got to do that. No. Become the best version of yourself that you're created to be each and every day. You guys know my story. It's Jesus. I'm just going to say it. Okay, I've said it many times. You know my testimony. Become the best version of yourself that you're created each and every day. Okay? Bring the right people around you to tell you the truth. Okay? The biggest lie we've bought in our world in the last easily probably 15 years is that we don't like when people tell us the truth. We hate it. That's the biggest lie. And we've learned that if they tell us the truth, that they don't like us or they're just hating on us. Nope. That's what people want you to think. So you never get better. I am going to tell you the truth. I love you too much not to. And I'm telling you, if you have your stuff hanging out, I'm going to tell you about it. And I'm going to do it in a loving way. But more importantly, I'm going to give you a solution. Okay? If you want a solution, the solutions are there. If you want to complain, you can do that too. But it's not going to get you any further than where you are right now. I love you all. We want to hear from you. peerpurposepodcast@gmail.com. Let us know where you're listening from. Okay, you have a question, go ahead. Let us know. We'll turn it into episode content. We'd love to just be a resource for you. We're so delighted you're on this journey with us. You're going to be okay. So much gold inside of you. It's going to walk the greatness outside of you. We're going to do it together, and I promise you, you're going to be proud of who you become at the end of this thing. I love you. See you next time.
Next time.